One of the main spells that they use against us, of course, is money. Now, money obviously has no form or value. It's simply a piece of paper. But yet we all believe we need it. It's the strongest faith in the world right now. We believe that if money went away, we'd all be lost. Of course, all the money is going away. And so we gotta see whether or not we actually are all lost without it. Mostly, I believe we would be a lot better off. But they use this spell of money to lead the agenda forward. So they don't have to come in and say, well, we're gonna do this way, this way. All you gotta do is make sure the money flows into that agenda and lead it forward. But money is also a spell, and it's also a ritual spell that they have used. And what we found was on 9/11, they had made the dollar bills. Now, the dollar bills were changed in 1996 to the point where when you fold them in a particular manner, as you see up here, they show the Twin Towers burning. Now, the 5 had the Twin Towers standing, the 10 had the first tower being struck, the 20 had the second tower and the first tower struck, and if you flipped it over, it had the Pentagon being struck, and then the 50 had the Twin Towers gone, and the 100 just a wisp of smoke. These were crafted in 1996, and this was a long time before the Twin Towers came down. Not much longer after Paul had been asked where to put the demolition charges, of course. This was a spell that has been crafted, enacted, and ready to be played against us. Now, most of what we look at is acts of prestidigitation, which is stage performance magic, standing up and pretending that something is real. And so when Hitler stood before his crowd, he would get them all in a frenzy, bring them all together and stuff everybody close together, make sure that the speeches were given at night, having a large wall of light, all of this being parts and parcel for the ritual that he was enacting to bring about a particular mindset, which was Nazism. These same type of tactics are being used against us today. Of course, he burnt the Reichstag, we brought down the Twin Towers. But of course, it's not an inside job, as it's stated by many of the patriots, but more a global job. And even worse than that, it is a ritual of the sorcerers of Atlantis. So they have us all in an enchantment. We are lost in a daze, we don't know what's going on. They're creating a mind pattern programming for us to follow. They want us to act out as this vengeful hero. And so they want to continue instilling the anger and the frustration and all of the concepts that they have used, the types of magic that they have used against us are politics, economics, religion. All of these things are false and just being used against us while they're going along with their agenda. They keep us in the dark. Now, one of the main people to be used for mind pattern programming was Walt Disney. Now, I'll tell you what, you can say bad things about Abraham Lincoln, you can say bad things about John F. Kennedy, but you say one bad thing about this man, and everybody goes, oh, no way, you can't be talking about Disney, he's the family man. All right, well, Walt Disney was a high-level Freemason out of Missouri, and he was very good at instilling mind pattern programming into children through his cartoons. The FBI got knowledge of this, and of course they like to keep it within the Brotherhood, so they grabbed Walt Disney, and J. Edgar Hoover, who is also a 33rd degree Freemason, hired Walt Disney to instill mind pattern programming into children. Now it's curious, when you go into Disney World, the very first thing that happens to you is you get your fingerprint taken. They have a laser scanner there, and you get your fingerprint taken, and I asked them why, and they said, well, security, just want to make sure you're the owner of the ticket. And I'm like, okay. So I let them go ahead and take my fingerprint, because, well, I'm Freeman, you know. What do I got to hide, right? And then you get inside of that big ball, and the next thing they're doing is asking you where you're from, and then they're taking your picture. So Walt Disney World is a good microcosm of what's to come. They have already gotten all of your biometrics in the first 10 minutes of being in this theme park. moving us into a Freemasonry world. So, when you start to notice the different signs and symbols around the architecture that is around us, you'll start, once you're clued into the Freemason Atlantean connection, things start to become more clear. Now, I found this large phallus out in front of Orlando City Hall, and next to it is a gushing vagina. And so, once again, we have the hermaphroditic architecture as they blew up City Hall for the movie Lethal Weapon. Now, of course, Hollywood is one of the main vehicles of instilling mind pattern programming into us. But I also tend to find these merfolk connections, and I don't know if you can see it down there at the bottom, but there is a fish monster caduceus. And I'm the one that's been tracking the merfolk for some time now, because Atlantis has always been famous for its merfolk. And when I find things like that, because the caduceus is typically considered a symbol of DNA, and then I'm finding fish monster caduceuses, and I'm thinking Cthulhu.